Everybody, it's your girl, Coach Christal. And tonight, I know you just saw me yesterday for Wisdom Wednesday, but tonight is going to be a little bit different. And it's Thursday, what we like to refer to as Steps and Stages as Friday Junior. And so as we head into the weekend, we want to give you some stories and some check-ins from our clients as we are 1 week away from Vision Camp Virtual. You might have missed Vision Camp Live. I may not have come to your city yet, but guess what? I'm going to come right to your living room for Vision Camp Virtual, your opportunity to clear out a blueprint for a life you would actually love living. And in order to just kind of spur you in the right direction, we have some clients who are going to talk about their experience, not just in Vision Camp, but through our Vision Builder program tonight. But before I get ahead of myself, let me introduce you to our community if you're just joining us with our mantra that just says a lot of things happen before this, and I guarantee a lot of things are going to happen after this. But we promise to be here with you now. Please be here with us now. Tonight, we have two clients who have just recently finished our 12-week Vision Builder program. They are Dre Ward and Shannon Smith, and I'd like to bring them out so they can introduce themselves to you in their own words. Dre, Shannon, welcome. How you feeling?
So good.
Good. So let's just go. Who graduated? Dre graduated first. Dre, introduce yourself to our community.
My name is Dre Ward, and I am lucky enough to live very close to Christal in the real world. I'm in Middlebury, Vermont, and vision building, best thing. And I'm so excited to see Shannon, who
I'm excited to see you too.
So good to see you.
So you guys overlapped in cohort. Shannon graduated a little bit after. Shannon, introduce yourself to us.
I'm Shannon Smith. Also in Vision Builder. I am in Virginia, so I don't have the fortunate pleasure of being close to Christal. But super excited to be here.
Amazing. So in the world, you two women are very successful, right? I'm just going to say it like that. You don't have to, if you don't want to say exactly what you do, that's on you, right? So I want to just go ahead and put this out there because some people believe that they can't come to one of our programs or that this is not for them because they don't have a vision yet. What would you say to those people?
You want to go?
Yeah, I can go. I think that, I don't want to say it too harshly, but I think that's an excuse because, it's just a matter of, do you want a vision? Do you want a plan? Because I didn't have one. I had a lot of ideas of what could be, but coming to Vision Builders really allowed me to kind of solidify and get clear. So even if you don't have one, you still can benefit from it.
Yeah. Dre, what were we gonna say?
Yeah, I would totally agree with Shannon. I would say that I came to Vision Builders hungry. It was something that I had been thinking about. It's something that I'd been hearing about. It was just sort of in the back of my mind, a little voice in the back of my mind saying like, this would be good for you. I don't have time in my daily life to carve out intention, to think, to plan, to dream. I didn't have any of those tools. So when Christal was starting a vision building session at the start of the year, I thought it was the best New Year's resolution I could ever give to myself. And it's the only one that has ever stuck. I was vision building today. And the transformations just keep coming. It has been the most empowering thing I've done.
I love it. So, okay. There are people who are on the fence. There are people who have said, I've already made my vision board. There are people who say, I have my 5-year and my 10-year plan. There are people who say, I have kids. I don't have time for this. There are people who say, I'm just going to put my head down and grind for the next 10 years. Then I'll worry about my vision and me when everything else is settled. What would you ladies say to those?
It's folly. That's the shortcut to the long road.
I love it. The shortcut to the long road. I love it.
There's, I wish, I mean, after, I don't know, Shannon, after having done it, I wish I had done it 5 years ago. I mean, the changes in my life, the changes to me, the way I feel about myself, the way that I'm able to make decisions, the way I'm able to focus my energy and my time, all of that stuff. It's so important. There's no reason to put it off. There's no reason big enough to put it off.
Yeah. Shannon, what were you going to say?
I definitely agree because, all of the reasons you listed, I could have used, solo parenting 4 children, not having a lot of time, working a full-time job. So there was a lot of reasons that I could have said no, but, saying yes to yourself is really empowering and giving yourself the space and opportunity to be better and to experience more.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back just for a second, because I think some people believe that once they get to a level of success and they have gotten, I don't want to use the bad C word, comfortable, but once they've established a level of, another bad word, security in their lives, right? Once they've established this, and they're like, okay, I got it. Now let me ride this plan out, right? And so when we realize that writing out that plan is not going to give us the expansion as a person, that's where that discontent comes from. So we know that the yes is powerful, but what made the two of you actually say yes to yourself?
You're up, Shannon.
Well, one, the connection on the introductory call. Mm-hmm. It just felt, and I'm more of an intuitive person, so I really feel my way through a lot of things. And so it just really felt right. And in the back of my mind, it was just like, it's time not to keep hustling, grinding, and making yourself exhausted. It's time to see what else is out there, because you see other people, thriving and experiencing ease even in their work, but somehow there's a disconnect of why you can't accomplish the same thing. So the connection plus, I felt like, I've tried all the hard things, so why not try something else and see if it,
hard work feels like it's right?
For sure.
That's good. What were we gonna say, Dre?
So I think for me, I agree with what Shannon said. Absolutely. There were so many reasons to put it off. There's so many excuses people can use to put it off. There's, you do get comfortable, you get complacent, you start to stagnate. And if you just listen to that intuitive voice, which is something that you've taught us, Christal, that intuitive voice in the back of your head, the back of your mind, that little voice that's like, really? This is going to be it. This is going to be the legacy that you leave. And for me also, I have 2 kids, I have 2 daughters, and to think, that some of my biggest life work is trying to be a role model for them. They don't have to do what I did, but I hope that I live in a way that's authentic and inspiring enough for them to say, like, oh, I can dream big. Who doesn't want their kids to dream big? And if we expect them to dream big, we've got to do it.
Exactly. So Gwendolyn Nixon is in the chat. She said that her vision boards have not worked. And she then says, what is the fee? So Gwen, if you haven't scheduled your free vision call, I would say do that. And then if you haven't done that, I would say just show up and try us out, because it's really about community. And so the fee for Vision Camp Virtual, I think is $45, right? Like jump in May 27th, join us for 3 hours, get through the blueprint, and let's see if it works for you. But that brings up an issue, right? Because people are often wondering, how much does this cost, right? And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say this, and I just want people out there to really hear me. I'm not saying this as the coach who believes in what I'm saying. I'm saying this as the woman who has done what I'm asking people to do, right? And so the first time I ever said yes and invested in myself, I had to split it between 2 credit cards. I had to go get to a cabin in the woods and ask God, is this really what I'm doing? Right? All the things. So I know that it takes a little bit more than just, Okay, right? It takes a yearning. It takes some discomfort for that yes to really come out and for you to then follow through, right? So there was times and this in this process that you were both in during the 12 weeks when I'm sure you wanted to be like, why in the LL Cool J did I say yes to this? Tell us about those moments.
Oh, that hit me hard about 2 weeks in, which is early. It was, I don't know, Shannon, if you were in yet, but I got really sick. And I think it was my body going, I do not know what you think you're doing here, but we are not on board. And I was like, smack down. It was terrible. But I think actually that stretch, that investment of time and money, it invigorated my commitment to it. You know, if it's just a couple bucks here or there, you know, you sign up for something, you buy a ticket to an event. If it's cheap, you're like, but I'll go or I'll not go. I was all in. I was committed. The pull was coming from the credit card on regular installments. I was not going to miss a session. And I mean, worth every penny and more. Like there are so many things we spend our money on that are not about us. They're not about building us up. They're not about making us better. They're not about inspiration. They're not about dream. They're not about the community that we were given as we participated. Yeah. We spend so much money on things that don't do any of that without even thinking about it. So,
and time, right? Which you can't get back. Yeah. What are you gonna say, Shannon?
Well, yeah, there were times where I was like, I felt the pinch, but in those times where I felt the pinch, I think I would reflect back on the weekly sessions and how I would be so filled, you know, and I realized that, like Drea said, the community is priceless, and it really does fill certain voids that may be the source of your barriers. Like I had a real strong barrier around being visible. And so like to even be on here right now, just tell you I got a breakthrough, because I would not have been able to do this if I was who I was 12 weeks ago. But yeah, it's just being in a community and having people mirror things back to you that they can see in you that you can't see. I know Drea has done that for me a couple times. Like, are you crazy? And so that made it worth it. Like it kind of like pushed a pinch to the back of my mind. It's like, well, I mean, it's for me. If I don't invest in me, then what else am I going to invest in?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So there's time, there's money, right? And there's being seen in a cohort. For those of you who are new to Steps and Stages, we believe in clarity, confidence, and community. We want to get clear on the vision. We want to build the confidence, which are the internal agreements we keep with ourselves. And we want to surround you in a community of people who are doing the work, not people who you've probably been measuring yourself against your entire lives, right? Not the people who are going to bring up the insecurities, but the people who are going to insulate the actual courage you need to take the next step. So our community is 3-tiered, right? So you guys just got out of Vision Builder, then there's Life Mastery, then there's a Mastermind, but we all get to communicate in our private client group, right? So it doesn't matter where you start, it's about where you want to go. So let's think in the 12-week show, what was the biggest question that you came up with for yourself, right? You know, I know that we're pushing, you know, Dre, I remember Dre's 2 weeks kind of like, you know, I'm going to say breakthrough, right? Because when she came back to the session, like, she was like, I think I have an emotional hangover. I'm drunk. You're like, this work is too deep. Like these questions are too big, you know, like, so what's the question you came up with for yourself during the 12 weeks?
I think my question was, what's next? You know, I sort of, if I look at the sort of paradigms that have been my history, it's like I fall into the next step. I fall into the next opportunity. I fall into the next role or whatever it is. And I'm thinking now, when was the last time I went after something or created something for myself that was important to me, that wasn't sort of like, oh, I'll try that. And not to say that those things haven't been amazing. Those things have been wonderful. They've been incredible adventures and experiences and opportunities I never could have scripted for myself. But now at 50, I want to take something. I want to be in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And to figure out what that is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And to do it in the community that was built and to still have that community, even after graduation. I go back and listen to I don't know if you have, Shannon, but I go back and I'm like, wait, what was that? And I go back to my notes and I say, oh, that was week 3, lessons 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going back and listening again, just for those refreshers, taking more notes. Yeah.
That's good. It doesn't end.
No.
Yeah. No.
No.
Like, no,
it doesn't end.
What you got, Shannon?
I don't know that in the beginning I actually had a question per se, but as I went through the weeks, I realized that what I was really searching for, I think the program gave me language for what I was searching for. And what I realized in hindsight is that what I was really looking for was, who am I, like, really? And, you know, like I put in a client Facebook group about how I came to the realization that all of this time I have been afraid of discovering who I really am. But doing this work kind of forces the false facades and all of the false identities to kind of fall away. And then you're like, oh God, I'm in too deep. I can't go back now. And it's really a great experience to get introduced to the real you. And I'm still getting to know the real me anyway. So, you know, I think that was the question that I ended up, you know, realizing that I was asking.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, right? Because one of the things we've come up with also in our Wisdom Wednesday time is looking at the quality of the question, determining the quality of your life, right? And so we were just talking about this the other night, y'all. So it says, sacrificing the questions for a false sense of success, right? Because sometimes we're afraid to ask the next question. Some people are afraid to ask what's next. Some people are afraid to ask, who am I? So instead of asking the question, we buy into the plan that someone else has created, and we start checking off those boxes to make it feel like we're doing something, but we're not becoming anyone. Right? And so that skeleton continues to show up, and it's rattling around, and it's just creating a lot of discomfort because there's no meat on the bones. There's no real you holding it together, right? You got to be solid in your own identity. So I love these questions of what's next and who am I, right? Because it brings us full circle in the process of transformation, which means if you have good questions, you can continue to transform over and over again, right? I want to bring us back to something that you guys were kind of hinting at. So for those of you who are new to our platform, new to our program, new to our community, we don't do pre-recorded coaching. So I just want to be clear that for those of you who are out there, these 2 women did not sign on to a program, watch videos, and then talk later. I don't believe in that. If you were going to do that, you could do it by yourself and you wouldn't need us or me. That's right. My gift would be invalid. So what this is a combination of all of my gifts, the gift of transformation, the gift of teaching, which I've been doing for many years, from kindergarten through being a tenured professor, right? The way that we cultivate community through trust, love, and real safe space. Safe space meaning a place where we can collaborate on the highest version of creating ourselves together. We believe that accountability is how we collaborate for greater solutions, not just holding someone to the task they said they were going to do. Right. So in this 12 weeks, y'all, tell me a moment where that accountability may have been a little uncomfortable. Just wondering. I'm thinking of a couple myself because, okay, let me just throw this out there so they get the whole story. In addition to your 12 weeks of live coaching with me and in your cohort, each one of my clients at the Vision Builder level gets 2 one-on-one calls with me, just me and them. Like, let's just dive in, right? We give these calls back to the clients as recordings for their transformation playlist. But in some of those conversations, it gets a little uncomfortable. Just saying. We keep it 100 over here. We're unmuted,
Yeah.
So what you got?
Yeah, Christal, I think you and the community are really good at, holding people's feet to the fire, right? There's no backing down, but it's the tenderest, most supportive, gentle kick in the butt you'll ever receive, right? So no one's putting words in your mouth, no one's putting a vision in your brain, but everybody is listening and you're learning from one another. Like Shannon was saying, in the live meetings that we had every week, you're checking back in with people. And there were times I can remember, not doing my affirmations, jotting them down. The tech piece of things isn't my strong suit. And Christal kept saying, just put it on your phone, take a picture, put it on your phone, do a recording. Do it. I was like, oh God, how about can I just put a Post-it on my phone? But the holding our feet to the fire, Christal essentially saying like, one of the things you say often is, okay, next. Like, the answer. So what's next?
Yeah.
And that sometimes is like, splash of cold water in your face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know what's next, but okay, here we go. I'm going in.
Yeah. Right. Because it dispels the fear immediately. Because the truth is you've already done the next thing and you're holding yourself in that kind of stagnant position because you just haven't built the courage. You haven't even recognized that you did something amazing. And this is, again, I just want to say, this is one of the trappings of people who find themselves in a state of success. Because they feel like, oh, this is it, I'm good at this, but you can be grateful and still want more, right? You have to get past that lull that says, oh, I guess this is how it's all going to work out, right? Shannon, what are your thoughts?
Well, when it comes to the whole accountability piece, I think for me, the one-on-ones was where I got the reality check of, because, when I came into this program, I think I had the false idea that, I was going to join this program and I was going to learn a bunch of stuff and I was just going to be fixed. But then when I got into the program and then the one-on-ones were not the way I had envisioned, where he was going to give me all this advice and these like big tips and I was just going to take it away. It was more like, and then I had to do the work. Like I had to solve my own problem. And it was like, oh my God, this is not what I expected. But I became better for it. And I remember in the community that I can't remember that I was talking about something and you said, Shane, I have to say, I don't think you realize that you're a bad bitch. And I never forgot that, I never forgot that. And that really shook me up to see myself in a different way. But then I walked away with, okay, now what is the evidence do I have to support that? The whole thing forces you to really level up to take responsibility for your transformation and actually, own the change. And that's the part that I didn't anticipate. And that's where I have been really accountable to myself and what I want.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Right. Because again, here we believe that change is the methodology of growth, right? You don't get to grow unless you change. Right. And I think a lot, and many people who are successful in their own right, and many people who have gone through a certain level of trauma and drama in our lives feel like the hard part is where we grow, but we never reflect on what we did to get through the hard part, which is really where the growth takes place, because we get to own the thing that we did in our own power that brought us to the next level. Right. And so a lot of this in our community, y'all, we have 3 T's. It's tune in, track your takeaways, and position yourself for transformation. And my clients hear me say it over and over and over again, to the point where it's like, it kind of gets a little bit rote, but I'm like, but are you tracking your takeaways? Right. So in these one-on-ones, when they say, oh, I'm stuck, I'm like, okay, tell me what you actually did. Right. And then let's be clear about what's happening, not what you're used to. Because what you're used to has been there longer than what you're building, and it's easy to default to the old pattern. So, yeah, we won't hold people long, but just one more question. If you think back to the you before Vision Builder, the you now, what's one thing that you can pinpoint that is different about you? And then what's one thing that you brought with you into this transformation from the old version?
All right, Shannon, you go first this time.
I thought I went first the last time. I was literally thinking, Drea, it's your turn now. I mean, I have the part of who I was or what I brought to Vision Builder, which was uncertainty, feelings of inferiority, and second guessing, and like waiting for permission to be or do, and the me now is no, I'm not waiting for permission. I'm going to do what I feel inclined to do. So I feel like that affirmation that we kind of worked out in the group about I'm willing to be seen really changed me, because it really is something I've embodied and I'm actually living and leaning into, hence me being on camera. But that changed me a lot. The willing to be seen. And I think that I don't remember the third part, but those are the two answers I have.
Great. I love it.
I think I brought curiosity and humor with me, and I think I took that with me too. I agree with a lot of what Shannon said: uncertainty, insecurity, this sense of being small. And I think I'm now that I've been through the Vision Builder part, I'm less afraid. I'm more excited. So when I start to feel afraid, I switch that and I start to understand that that's just my boundary that I've not stepped over yet. And every time now I get afraid, I feel myself feeling afraid, I shut it down and I switch it to excitement for the unknown. And that alone was worth every minute and every dollar that has transformed more than I can even recognize, because I'm just not scared anymore.
Hey, we'll take it. I love it.
I'll take it. Yes.
We'll take it. I just want to say for the people out there, if you are on the fence about whatever it is that's nagging you, whatever it feels like an empty space, whatever it feels like you just aren't getting the full version of you, I want you to take us up on coming to Vision Camp Virtual, May 27th, 12 to 3. And I will also personally just say here now that I believe our community, no matter what stage of development or growth you're in, is the best first step. Because vision without any other kind of support is going to leave you wanting for something that you can't define yet. And if you're trying to start a new business or build a new family or whatever you're trying to do, you have to know what it looks like first. And you have to know who you are in it before it can actually come to you. So vision, in our opinion, is the best first step. And if you're ready to take that step, make sure you're at Vision Camp Virtual on May 27th, noon to 3 p.m. The link will be below this video on any platform you're watching. And ladies, I'll let you have the last word. What can we say to people, or what can you say about you? Whatever, last words. Your transformation is really why we're here.
No regrets, and it just keeps going. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
There you go.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's the change that keeps evolving. Like it's not stopping. It's just growing and expanding. And it's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah. So invest in yourself. Say yes to yourself. I'm here not as your guru, but as a guide to get you closer to the you you're supposed to be. It's the investment of a lifetime so you can actually love the life you're living. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Dre Ward, Shannon Smith. We'll see you later. This is Steps and Stages. Have an amazing Friday, Junior.